good morning, everybody. My name's, just as I say that, here's the postman. It's typical, isn't it? Morning, morning. I always wave at him. This is Symon Vegro, back after a fortnight's break, which I enjoyed, and I welcome you all to another Redbourn Community Newsbite. Hello to everybody joining today's Zoom Live, and also to all those who watch and listen to it later on Facebook and on our website. And we do have a large number of people listen to it offline, which is nice. The Active and Redbourn team all hope you enjoy it. Now, there are a few things I need to say each week in advance, so please forgive me if you've heard all this before, but I'll be very quick. First of all, people joining are automatically muted with their video turned off. If you want to preserve your anonymity, I always struggle with that word, still further, you can change your name in Zoom. You can use the chat function to send questions or messages to me. I don't think I've ever had anything in chat yet, so the first person ever to do it will get a little prize. It'll be quite exciting to get something in chat. This is being now live streamed, I think, to the Redbourners Facebook page. I believe that's right. The producer's nodding somewhere, yeah, and thank you, Olive. And later on, we'll be on the Active and Redbourn website as well as an audio file. And as always at this point, if I have forgotten anything, I'm now inviting our producer and IT director to chip in and remind me of something I should say. If I don't hear anything, I'll assume I've covered everything. So, Olive, am I okay?
You're doing well.
I'm doing well. Makes a change. Right, we have another full programme for you today, and I'm going to begin with an update from Liz Richards from the Health Centre. So good morning to you, Liz.
Morning, everybody. Thank you for having me on, as
you're welcome.
Always.
We'd love to have you. So I think we've learned to start these calls with the thing that everybody's interested in, which is obviously vaccination progress, general health of the village. So over to you to tell us what your latest news is, please.
Thank you. Unfortunately, there's not much to update you all re vaccines this week because we haven't really had any supply, which is very, very frustrating for us. We could be delivering about 14,000 vaccines a week out of Batchwood, and I think last week we had 1,000 delivered, and this week is about the same. So it's very frustrating. We have got Daisy Cooper on board to try and influence the vaccine minister. So she's been very supportive, but we are in a bit of a rut at the moment. So we still have many more of cohort 6 to invite and to vaccinate. These include the newly added clinically extremely vulnerable patients that have recently been added to the shielded list. It also includes many carers as well, and also other individuals 16 to 64 with underlying health conditions. So we're still working our way through this group. It is quite a large group, and we've had many contacts with patients this week that are understandably getting frustrated because unfortunately in the news it is sort of saying that some of cohort 7 has started to be invited nationally, and which is the 60s, over 60s, and we haven't managed to finish cohort 6 yet. So a bit of frustration all round really, but we're doing everything we can. This week up at Batchwood, Thursday is a busy day, so that's tomorrow, going from 8 till 6 in the evening. And that will be second vaccines for all those that have received their first vaccine in mid-December. So these are over 85-year-olds receiving their second vaccine. So that's good news because then they will have had the full vaccination programme. We believe we've invited all of those patients and they've all got appointments up at Batchwood tomorrow. Friday, there is a small clinic in the morning for some of Group 6 who have managed to get appointments. I'm aware that there are still some people that have had an invitation but can't book because we haven't got the vaccine. Don't worry, you're in the system, and you will, when we have appointments available to give you, it will remind you to go in and book. And then the rest of that cohort need to be invited as well. We haven't had confirmation of vaccine delivery for next week yet to be able to continue with Group 6. And there was also no second vaccines to be given next week because 12 weeks ago it was Christmas week and we didn't give any during that week. We have been told to expect a big increase in supply shortly, but what shortly means, we're not really sure. So that's where we're at with the vaccine programme. we are still getting a lot of contacts from patients at the surgery, you know, all pleading their case to try and be moved up a group or change things. Which is adding to the workload quite a lot. Some of them are very genuine, you know, inquiries. So, you know, it's fine, but only please do contact us about the cohort that you're in, if you really do have a genuine concern that you're not in the right group. And then I just wanted to also remind people that we do have a patient participation group at the practice, which we meet every other month on a Wednesday evening between 7 and 8. And at the moment, it's obviously via Microsoft Teams. But if anybody would like to get involved, we have quite a small group at the moment, and we would love for it to expand. So if anybody would like to get involved with that, then please do email the surgery on lodgesurgery@nhs.net. It doesn't matter if you can't make all the meetings, it's fine. But if you would like to be involved and on that in that group, then we would really love to hear from you, because the feedback we get from our patients is really important. So that's all I had really, Simon.
Lovely, Liz, thank you. Well, just before I let you go, just out of it, you may not know this, but I'm just curious. Do you know what proportion of the village as a percentage have now been vaccinated? I just wonder whether you can sort of make, even if it's a rough sort of guess. I'm just idle curiosity, really.
I don't know. I can find that out for next week, because obviously we've got all the St Albans patients in there as well. So I roughly know for different age groups how many have been vaccinated. But for Redbourn in particular, I can find that information out and bring it next week.
I just think it might interest some people. It just occurred to me while you were chatting. So, well, anyway, thank you for your update. You're doing a great job. It's a shame about the vaccine supply, but there's nothing you can do about that. I know you're doing everything you can. So keep up the brilliant work.
Thank you.
And you can come on again next week, can you?
Can come on again next week.
We'll look forward to that, Liz. Thank you.
All right then. Thanks everyone. Have a good morning. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Now, what was going to happen now, and I don't know whether he's managed to get on the call, is we're going to have Dr. Hemsi from the Elms in Harpenden. If you're out there, David, can you let us know, or can you let Olive know? If not, we'll get you on again next week or another time.
Unfortunately, he may have come through on somebody else's Zoom link, so I can't see him.
Very possible. So if you are out there, David, can you go into chat? We'll give you a couple of minutes. I love this technology. It's fantastic, isn't it? Go into chat and send Olive a message. And if it doesn't work in 20 seconds or so, not to worry at all. We'll just move on to the next item and we'll get you on again another time. So let's just see. Must be very frustrating if you are out there trying desperately to sort of get heard and we can't hear you, but not to worry. Like I said, we'll get you another occasion. Okay, nothing's coming through, Olive. What I suggest we do is we make a management decision and move on and get David on next week or another occasion, if that's okay. And apologies, David, if you are out there. So next on my list today is the lovely Sally Bartlett from the care group, who I know is on the call. I can't see her at the moment on my little screen, but I know you're out there, Sally.
Yes, I am. Yes, and I'm unmuted, so hopefully can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you today, but we can hear you. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Yep. Very well. You all right?
Exceptional. Exceptional today, Sally. All the better for hearing from you. Now, by the way, just before we start, knowing where you live, can you see the mist on the common and what does it look like from where you live?
Oh, there is a little bit of mist. It looks absolutely beautiful. As always, the common is fantastic and I love it all times of the day. Not much left, just a slight sort of sprinkling through the trees.
Oh, it must be so lovely though to be able to look on it like you can. So super. Okay, Sally. So you've got a little bit of an update for us, I think, about the coffee on the common Zoom tea or whatever we call it. I was forget the name. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, it was the first one happened on Monday morning. It's called Tea and Chat in the Zoom room.
That's it.
So yep, Tea and Chat in the Zoom room. And the first one was on Monday. Is actually a really good way to start the week. There were 12 people who'd never met before and they zoomed in and spent a good hour chatting about all sorts of things. There wasn't a set agenda. It was just a group of people sharing a chat about everyday life. Unfortunately, I was rather late and missed the beginning. It sounded like a very interesting conversation about local history. Christine was on and she was talking about some of the research she'd undertaken while putting together the history of Harpenden. Now, Christine went to live in New Cottages in 1964, so obviously she'd seen many changes in and around Redbourn, which were fascinating. Now, others joined in with their own experiences. I learnt a bit about Porridge Pot, which I hadn't realised was cut in half by the bypass many years ago now. But I have to say it was a thoroughly pleasant way to start the week. And for once, Simon couldn't even get a word in edgeways. Now, that did make me smile. Now, I think I'm right in saying that Olive's going to do a 5-minute presentation next Monday on an introduction to Zoom. So that will certainly be worth listening to. You do need to register in advance, but the link is on the Active in Redbourn website, and it's called Tea and Chat in the Zoom room. But you can actually call in. You don't have to Zoom in. So I would encourage everyone to give it a try. You might make some new friends, so make a note, 11 o'clock Monday morning.
Thanks, Sally. And we do need more men. So
I'm not commenting on that.
It was obviously lovely. It was obviously lovely to hear to chat to all the. Well, as you say, Sally, I never got a word in, but it was a really lovely meeting. But I did feel a little bit, well, I'm not quite sure what the word is, on my own, put it that way. And I didn't, it was lovely. It was lovely. So there we go. Thank you very much, Sally.
Thank you.
Simon, we've now found Dr. Hemsi.
Yes, I've just noticed. Good morning, David.
Good morning, everyone. I've been here hearing you talk about me for the last 15
minutes. Oh, yeah, well, I hope we didn't say anything too controversial. Well, now we know your iPhone, David. We'll clock that one. So good morning.
Good morning to everyone. Carry on, Sally. I missed the end of what she was saying. I'll hold my place in the queue. Finish what you're doing.
Okay. Sally, I think we're just about done, aren't we?
Yes, I'm finished. Thank you very much, David. I'm finished. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sally. Keep up the brilliant work in the care group, and we'll catch up with you again soon. So we're going to now I love how flexible we can be. As I say, I often say we're not the BBC. We can do whatever we want to do on this show. So we're back to David now from the Elms in Harpenden. How are you, David?
Echo everything that Liz Richards was saying about the vaccine supply and delivery.
Same for you guys up in Harpenden then, is it?
It's even worse at Harpenden Hall, public halls, than it is in Batchwood. You know, for the last 2 weeks, and again for next week, we're only getting one delivery of the minimum number of vaccines, which is blocks of 400.
Do you think it's because the programme, in an odd sort of way, because the programme's going so well, obviously demand is just outstripping supply and they can't keep up with the logistics of it? Do you think that's what the problem is?
We've been victims of our own success in that our vaccination rates in the priority cohorts has been over 90%.
Brilliant.
And Harpenden Health PCN has actually led in the ICS. So in our region of the 3 CCGs for vaccinating over 80-year-olds. So we're at sort of near 95% vaccination of our over 80-year-olds, and we've got similarly good figures compared to the other PCNs.
Oh, fantastic!
So the issue simply is vaccine delivery. All the PCNs, so all the local vaccination services, delivering 100% to our population if we had the vaccine supply. So the only limiter is the vaccine supply.
And David, just so for those that might not know what a PCN is, which I would include myself in that number, by the way, can you just explain the acronym, please?
Right. So a PCN stands for Primary Care Network. They were established in April 2019 when the precursor of primary care networks faded. That was primary care groups. But basically what primary care networks are groups of local practices serving between 30 to 50,000 registered patients. So in our locality, which is St Albans and Harpenden, we have our PCN in Harpenden, which consists of the village surgeries, the Elms Medical Practice and Davenport House. So all the Redbourn residents that are in our primary care network are registered with the Elms Medical Practice, and there's just under 1,000 of those. The other 2 practices in our primary care network do not cover Redbourn. Most of the Redbourn residents are registered with the health centre, which is now overseen by the group of practices that Liz Richards is the practice manager for.
Right, okay, that makes sense. Thanks for that, David. So summarise, and things going brilliantly. You just need more vaccines.
Exactly, and we've got our local MP as a volunteer at Hartenden Public Halls. We have written to him this week. Last week I wrote to him actually, and he's responded, and he's meeting with the vaccine minister to discuss supplies of vaccine to local vaccination centres. And we've also written to Matt Hancock, highlighting the vaccine supply issue. And we've included the 3 primary care networks working out of Batchwood Hall, because basically we're all under the same umbrella of Starfed Limited Federation. And Starfed is a group of all the 11 practices in St Albans and Hartenden. So we're all on the same hymn book, and everything that I say applies for Batchwood Hall, and everything that Liz Richards said on behalf of Batchwood Hall applies for Hartenden Public Halls. The issue is vaccine supply. It's not us being prepared to work because we're all rostered. We've got an army of volunteers in Harpenden, over 700 people through the Harpenden Trust, which we couldn't be functioning as efficiently as we do without their support. And we've also got getting on for 100 volunteer vaccinators, so people that were upskilling or who have rejoined their professional organisation having been retired to provide the vaccination service. So the NHS is keen that primary care goes back to a normal functioning, whatever that is, from the 1st of April.
Yeah.
And so I think this is part of the reason behind the government strategy of having mass vaccination centres and clinical and pharmacy groups locally also delivering the vaccine, because they think that the local vaccination centres are detracting from the provision of general medical services. So, all of us being able to get doctors with our GPs, getting appointments with our doctors and nurses at the practices, that doesn't hold much water, in my view, that argument, because most of the practice staff and doctors who are working in the vaccination centres are doing it in their own time. So it's a sort of fallacious argument to support these mass vaccination sites at the expense of local vaccination services, in my opinion, because local vaccination services and the provision of workers from the practices doesn't have a huge effect on the provision of our general medical services, because most of us are doing it in our own time, additional to our normal hours.
I guess there's not much we can do about that at the moment, though, is there? I guess we just have to roll with it. Yeah.
Well, I think MPs, councillors, all sorts of people are being inundated with complaints from patients, because, and quite rightly so, because the messages going out to patients are conflicting. So a lot of people who are in lower priority groups are getting vaccinations before people in higher priority groups. And there are countless examples of that, both locally, regionally and nationally. So it's totally frustrating delivering a local vaccination service, not being able to vaccinate those with most need, with others, queue jumping, one could say.
But nonetheless, you're doing a great job anyway, David. So thanks on behalf of all the villagers in Redbourn and obviously locally. Do you have any other? Sorry, go on.
No, it's a privilege to deliver this. All the people. I don't know if you've had your vaccine yet, but if you go down to the vaccination centres, wherever they are, there's a real sort of can-do atmosphere and an excitement that people are being vaccinated. The people who are coming to us, a lot of them haven't been out their homes for a year.
Wow.
There's some very, very moving stories out there. And to be able to provide a way out of this pandemic through vaccination is it's what we're all here to do, and we thrive on that.
Brilliant. Well, thank you. And I know everybody's so appreciative and pleased with the work you're doing. David, do you have any more updates for us, or is that all you basically wanted to say today, or which was obviously a brilliant update?
Just no. I think Liz covered all the technical side of things, and no, I've got nothing else to add.
Super. Well, listen, it's really good of you to join in. Thank you very much. We hope that we can get you or one of your colleagues on every week if you can. I know how busy you are, so if you can't do it just because you're too busy, absolutely no worries at all. But we will keep asking you, and if you could spare a few minutes each Wednesday morning, or one of your colleagues, that would be wonderful.
Well, if there's a demand and there's specific questions that you'd like us to come on and answer, or issues you want us to address, then absolutely be delighted to do that. It's a good use of our time.
Super.
So
thanks, David. Keep up the good
just
work.
email. Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for the invite. Bye.
You're welcome. Okay. Next up, we've got. I think let's go for young Will. Good morning, Will.
Good morning, Simon. I'm not sure I fit that description, but that's very kind.
Now, I suggest we don't talk about rugby today. With all respect to any Welsh listeners we might have on the call, I suggest we move straight on.
No rugby, no cricket.
Rugby. It never happened.
No rugby or cricket, but I'm happy to talk about West Ham if you like.
Are you a West Ham supporter?
Yeah, I am.
I didn't know that. Well, why would I know that? My wife is a closet West Ham supporter as well. I think she used to like Trevor Brooking.
Yeah. Well, most seasons, being a closet supporter is the way to support the Irons. Yeah. This year, we can kind of show our face a little bit more. I mean,
I don't really follow football that closely, but you are doing rather well, aren't you? Up in the top half of the table or something?
Let me just say it, a top London team at the moment.
Top London team. So for all you other football fans out there, I bet that feels good, Will.
It does. And I think in a strange sort of way, the lockdown, playing behind closed doors, has suited West Ham because we've got the most abysmal stadium. It might have been a good business deal, but terrible for atmosphere. So actually playing in the Olympic Stadium behind closed doors suits us quite well. There's no such thing as home advantage for West Ham, I tell you.
Oh dear. So, okay, well, but I bet that probably wasn't what you planned to talk about, Will. So
no.
the floor is yours. We're all looking forward to what you've got to say as always.
Thank you very much. I wondered if any of you have experienced that thing when you start something new, or you buy something, or thinking about buying something, and you can't stop noticing it everywhere you look. You're thinking of buying a new car, and it seems as if it's the only make on the road. Yeah. You see so many. Well, I've noticed that since I started to get back into a little bit of running, that there are lots and lots of runners in Redbourn, and they all seem to have their headphones in. And it left me wondering what they listen to while they pound the streets. Perhaps it's a podcast. They say that listening to the spoken word when exercising is really good for you. It's something about left brain and right brain. I don't pretend to understand it, but it sounds about right. For others, listening to music while they run will inspire, and perhaps something with a good steady beat will help them to maintain tempo. What I won't be listening to as I run is the theme for Chariots of Fire. I don't think that's quite where I am at the moment, but it is great music by Vangelis, and it always makes me think of that wonderful performance in the opening ceremony of the London 2012 Olympics with Sir Simon Rattle and the London Symphony Orchestra and Mr. Bean. So funny. It was part of a homage to British films, and I can't believe that it was 40 years ago, 1981, that Chariots of Fire was released.
Wow.
The title role was played by Ian Charleson, who became famous for playing Eric Liddell in that film, but not an actor that many will have heard of. He died just 9 years later, aged 40, of HIV/AIDS, and was actually the first celebrity death that was openly attributed to HIV/AIDS in this country. But I digress. The story is an inspiring one, and parts of it are really well known, of course. Eric Liddell was the son of Scottish missionaries based in China. He had a strong Christian faith, and that compelled him to observe the Sabbath. And this part of the story is well known. He was widely tipped to win the 100 meters race at the 1924 Paris Olympics. But one of the qualifying rounds for the 100 meters was scheduled for a Sunday, and he refused to race. Instead, he switched event, running in his less favoured 400 metres instead. and the rest, as they say, is history. The schedule for qualifying didn't include any races on a Sunday. He made it to the final, where he won a gold medal and set a new world record in the process. And in an interview, he remarked, "God made me fast, and when I run, I feel his pleasure." It's an extraordinary story, and every sports fan's dream to be the best in the world at what you do. And if that wasn't enough, he was also a brilliant cricketer, and he played rugby for Scotland as well in the back line. I think he scored 4 tries in his international rugby career. And that is the well-known story of Eric Liddell. But what happened after the Olympics is in many ways just as remarkable and inspiring, but less known. He was now the pin-up boy of running and could have spent the rest of his days as a speaker and ambassador for the sport. But he felt compelled to go back to his roots, heading to the Far East with Florence, his wife, and his 2 daughters. Little did they know what was to befall them. Liddell served as a missionary and trainer in northern China from 1925 until growing hostilities and then Japanese occupation came. His wife, pregnant at the time, and their 2 children fled to be with family in Canada. But Liddell made the difficult decision to stay. He was captured and died in a civilian prisoner of war camp in 1945, aged just 43. He had been loved by so many of the people in that region who came across him as a generous, inspiring and faithful Christian and warm human being. So many had been affected by his life and witness. So perhaps as I haul myself up and do a bit of running, I should not listen to the theme of Chariots of Fire, but a recording of Eric Liddell's life story. It is truly remarkable, and there's enough in it to keep me going for a long time.
Wow. When I hear stories about people like that, it's humbling, doesn't really do it justice to do it. It's extraordinary. Some of the things that some people in life achieve. Wonderful. I didn't know any of that. So that's really incredible. Thank you. And how are you going in terms of, just back to your running very quickly before we wrap up, so how are you going in terms of being sort of the fastest in the world? Would you say, where are you on that sort of spectrum?
Not even flickering the needle, I think.
Okay.
I just to take my strength from Aesop's fable and the tortoise and the hare, I think.
Very good. But last question today, Will, are you managing to go out every day? I think you said a while ago that you were trying to do it every day. Are you managing that?
No, I'm not showing my face at all. I'm nowhere near public sort of no, ready for that. No, I've got a running machine, a treadmill in the garage.
Oh, okay, super. Well, we look forward to hearing your updates. Thank you very much, Will, as always, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, if the technology works, I'm sort of speaking really to our producer here. We should now be ready for an audio clip from Chris Renwick of the Playing Fields Trust. Olive, is that correct?
Yeah, that's fine.
In that case, please play the clip, and this is a little update, everybody, that I hope you'll find interesting. Only a few minutes long, about what's going on up at the leisure centre. Thanks, Olive.
Hi there. My name is Chris Renwick. I'm chairman of the trust which manages Redbourn Recreation Centre. I would like to share with you an outline of what we believe are some very exciting proposals for the rec. In short, we are proposing to extend the range of and quality of services for residents. New sports will be introduced, including tennis and hockey, new facilities added, including a permanent spin room. A new sports hall will be built and the infrastructure improved, including extra car parking, green initiatives, and for the community, a youth play area, a multi-sports all-weather pitch, and a 1 kilometre all-weather running track. So why are we doing this now? We aim to ensure the centre's financial security and guarantee it for future generations. Market research tells us that post-COVID there will be an increased demand for sports, leisure, health and well-being related activities. We have a one-off opportunity to improve the current facilities at no cost at all to our local councils or the taxpayer, whilst also preserving the integrity and character of Redbourn and the rec as we know it today. We plan to implement these proposals over a 3-year period in 2 key stages. Stage 1 will be the first and most substantial, to be implemented from 2022, enabled by a £2 million investment from Junior Elite Tennis, or JET. This will create a tennis academy for 12 to 18 outstanding young tennis players who may have the potential to turn professional. JET will importantly partner with Redbourn Tennis Club, much of which will relocate to the Leisure Centre complex. 10 new courts will be provided, 3 hard courts, 4 real clay courts and 3 indoor hard courts. Sardi Gymnastics will take full-time occupation of the existing hall, and a new additional sports hall will be constructed to cater for all the other sports such as badminton, netball, football, basketball, cricket training, and a much wider range of fitness and wellbeing classes than we are currently able to provide. The centre will include a substantially upgraded gym and a spin room, improved bar, catering and social facilities, as well as a new large outdoor terrace area. New outdoor cricket nets will be built for our cricketers, and the Bowls Club will have a new rink with an adjacent tea room. Stage 2 will be achieved in partnership with Jarvis Homes and Harpenden Hockey Club. This investment will support the provision by around 2023 of a full-size multi-sports artificial pitch. This will be suitable for hockey, netball, tennis, recreational football and other sports. There will also be enhanced and additional cricket facilities added, including 2 artificial wickets for juniors and a brand new grass cricket square. Stage 2 will continue further with the aim of benefiting the wider community. By early 2024, we plan to extend the outdoor offering to include an all-weather, free-to-use running track in the backfield and a much-needed youth area incorporating a skate park and basketball court. A new pavilion and cricket scorebox is also planned for the backfield. Next steps. We plan to continue discussions with all our current stakeholders. We have met with Parish Council and District Council officers. It's early days, but we're encouraged by the responses from all these meetings. This short video is the first step engaging with you, the wider community of Redbourn. Every household will have access to information setting out our plans in detail, and we will be holding public Zoom meetings during March, and we want to hear what you think. A short survey will also be distributed in April. We've instigated dialogue with St Albans Planning Office, and before the summer we will start the formal process with the local authorities. So your feedback now is very important. We think we have a plan to provide a stunning leisure facility, the best in Hertfordshire for a village of our size, and the envy of surrounding communities. A facility to benefit everyone, whether you're 6, 16, 36 or 86 years old. Importantly, our recreation centre will remain affordable and continue to be less expensive than similar facilities in the surrounding area. Help us to bring this project to reality so Redbourn becomes the healthiest village in Hertfordshire. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.
Super duper. Thank you, Olive. And before we move on to the next bit, I just want to say I've seen a sort of an expanded version of that presentation, and it really is quite exciting up there. And for any tennis fans out there, the clay courts we're going to have are apparently a mirror image, if that's the right terminology, of the ones they have in Paris. So I'm looking forward to the first ever British winner in the French Open, who was trained in Redbourn. How exciting would that be? Really, really exciting development. So we're now on the next section, which is what's new in the village. Olive, do you want to give us a quick update on what's coming up?
Yeah, this is going to be very quick. A couple of really interesting things on litter picking. There's a little boy of 8 years old who's decided he wants to do litter picking, and he's created a Facebook page, Little Local Litter Pickers Community. Brilliant. And so do go on there and support him with your kids. And then also for Redbourn in Bloom, we have the lockdown litter pick with COVID-safe litter picking around Redbourn. And please take photographs of your litter picking because they're going into some St Albans event, and send them to hello@redbourninbloom.org.uk. And if you want to borrow some litter pickers, Diane on 01582 792846 has some that she can lend you. So do support the litter picking. I think during the lockdown there's been quite a lot of litter left around the village, so it's great to have these two initiatives all going on together. And then just a couple of things from Live Well in Air, which you can find on our Facebook page or our YouTube. Dog training has now got to step 4, which is weight, and so do go and have a look at that one if you've got a new puppy. It's really useful skills. And also we are bringing back Sam to do the cha-cha at 11 o'clock on Fridays.
Thank you, Olive. Is that you done on that section?
That's me done, yeah.
Just on the dogs, when you say weight, do you mean spelled W-A-I-T or W-E-I-G-H-T?
Well, it probably could do with both, but it is actually weight.
Okay.
Stand still while you're crossing the road,
okay,
for example.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so the next section is, I believe, Redbourn Recommends. Before you play anything, Olive, I just wanted to say that we've had some absolutely wonderful recommendations, and you'll hear some more wonderful ones today. Please keep them coming in and inform the village about the best books, movies, TV programmes, games, anything you want to. They're really, really wonderful things to do, and we really encourage everybody to participate and to give us your recommendation. So, Olive, without further ado, I think you've got some more to give us today.
Yes, actually, I just reiterate what Simon's just said. Online games on Zoom or something, really useful. So, and I don't think we've had any games in yet.
Okay, Olive, it's a sin.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I have lived in Redbourn for just around 18 years, nearly 19. And I have been asked to do a recommendation for Redbourn Recommends. And I would like to highly recommend a series that's just recently been on Channel 4. It could be all 4, but you can catch it on all 4 anyway. And it's called It's a Sin. And it's set around the 80s and 90s during the AIDS crisis. And it follows a group of friends, 4 young gay men and their friend Jill, on their journey, living in London. And it follows them, and it's, I loved the characters from the minute, on screen, absolutely, you fall in love with them. And really it's following them, and it shows just how, shocking the AIDS crisis was in the 80s and early 90s, and how these people were treated. The hospitals didn't know what to do with them, and they were locked away, seen as dirty, it was sinful. And it's, I feel it's really important that, we need to watch this stuff. It's, I was guilty of being, letting myself be swayed by the media, letting the media influence me during the AIDS crisis. And, I can reflect on that now. These issues are really important to me. I have a gay son, and, I thank, the Terence Higgins Trust who brought the first treatment in 1997 into the UK for AIDS, and people can live a very normal life now without contracting AIDS from HIV. Anyway, I thoroughly recommend the series. It really is grabby tissues, but you will fall in love with the characters. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to watch, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Hi, I'm Nick.
Hello, my name is Ivan Hickmott. I've just finished reading a quite wonderful book. I'd like to recommend Appeasing Hitler by Tim Boovery. It's a thriller, it's a page-turner, and yet at the same time it's an authoritative and well-researched history book. It tells the story of one of the most dramatic events of the 20th century, namely how Britain eventually went to war with Germany in 1939. It explores the dilemma of whether it's better to do whatever it takes to maintain peace, in other words, the policy of appeasement, or to face the aggressor head on. It's a story of powerful and flawed human beings, our Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, of Adolf Hitler, with Churchill lurking in the shadows. It's a superbly written, gripping narrative about relationships, about parliamentary politics and international diplomacy. As I read the book, I found myself repeatedly drawing parallels with modern times, of how individuals can make history, of Donald Trump, Boris Johnson, Tony Blair, of Brexit, of Iraq. I found myself thinking about how easily countries can be drawn into war. How do you respond to aggression and dictatorship? It's a hugely thought-provoking book, but also just a good read. Enjoy it for 10 quid of fantastic entertainment, or you could borrow it from me. Cheers.
Hi, my name is William, and today I would just like to suggest a book called Maradona by Matt and Tom Oddfield. It's one of the classic football heroes, and if you're a really football-y sort of guy, you would like this. I like this book because, 1, it's very interesting. 2, the pages aren't that big, so if you spend, say, 2 hours, you'll probably finish this book. And 3, because it explains the hand of God. Now, if you didn't know, it's something where it's an Argentina game where someone crossed the ball to Maradona and he accidentally used his hand and it went in. The referee didn't see and he called it the hand of God. I think you'll really recommend this book, and it's appropriate for kids about 4 to literally 100. It's very good, yeah, and just have a good time reading it if you want. Bye. Hi.
Brilliant. I mean, they're all brilliant. I love that last one, by the way. I'm not quite sure whether the hand of God was an accident, if Will's out there listening, but a really, really good recommendation. Thank you. So everybody listening, just goes to show how wonderful these are. Please keep them coming in. If you want to submit your own one of these, as we said, whatever the medium is, whether it's a book, a TV series, a movie, a game, whatever it might be, even a walk, a cycle ride, anything, who knows? Just send your recording into info@activeinredbourne.co.uk and we'll look forward to hearing it and putting it on one of our weekly performances. So we're at the end of the show now. We've just got the wonderful Redbourn players to come next. David, can I just have a very, very quick chat with you before we start, if you're obviously available?
Yes, Simon. Yes, indeed.
I just wanted to ask you, actually, now that the kind of lockdown is kind of coming to an end, sort of ish, and we've got sort of tentative dates, I wonder whether you've got around to thinking about any live performances, or whether we might even see the Snatchups on stage.
Right, well, funny enough, we have immediately Boris made the announcement, we started having discussions about what we might do, because we had our original performance dates of May already booked with the Village Hall, but it was clear that that would come too soon. As it stands, we believe that the May the 17th date allows us to start rehearsing again, because that's the rule of 6 indoors. And obviously from the, well, I don't know, it's the 27th of June or something, all restrictions are supposed to end. So we've currently, we are looking to stage a production in late July. We've booked some dates with the Village Hall. We will start rehearsing Lockdown in Little Grimley, which was the play we were due to do in December.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, it's we were quite anxious to do this while the subject matter was still relevant, and so we intend to hopefully start rehearsing again from the 17th of May with a view to having a production in July. So that's a really exciting development, because it's been a long time, and it would be nice to get back to what we do best,
Absolutely, treading the boards. Absolutely,
has been treading the boards.
We can't wait. Thank you for that update. So I'm going to do a very slight pause now, and then I'm going to read out my my intro for you. So here we go. And now it is time to head over once again to the picturesque Hertfordshire village of St Mary's for the 6th instalment of our weekly serial, The Snatchups. When we left it last week, Grandad was having a litter grabber surgically removed from an intimate area. Tim had narrowly avoided a custodial sentence, and Stan's days of driving the care group minibus looked numbered.
There you are, Stan. How did it go with the care group?
Well, they weren't at all happy that the film of the minibus getting clamped had gone viral. But on the plus side, Mrs. Old Lady attacking a police officer with her handbag has become an internet sensation. Anyway, the upshot is that they've decided the best way I can help in future is by staying as far away from them as possible.
That seems to be a recurring theme in your life, doesn't it, Stan? Every job you've ever had and every club you've ever joined, they've always said the same thing.
They're probably just not used to dealing with someone who has my standards.
Yes, I'm sure that's the reason why. Anyway, Grandad's here. He's just taking it easy after his accident. Who would have thought picking up litter would be so dangerous?
Yes, you never know just what is going to pop up and surprise you.
Well, a litter grabber in his case. I can still visualise seeing him in hospital, just lying there on his front with it sticking up in the air. It was really upsetting, which is why I thought we could stay in and spend some time together. I thought we could all play a family board game.
Are you sure? You know what happened last time?
You mean the great Cluedo catastrophe?
Yes. It ended up with Tim nearly murdering Jane in the dining room with the lead piping.
I'm sure everything will be fine. We'll play something else instead. Tim? Jane? Can you come down, please?
Guess what? I've just seen Phil Tibbs out running. But I don't think he wanted to be recognised as he had his hat pulled down over his face.
Well, how did you know it was him?
Well, he had his name printed on the back of his T-shirt.
Right, we're all going to play a board game.
Well, I'm not playing Cluedo again. Not after the last time.
It's all right. We're going to play Monopoly instead.
We always play Monopoly. And anyway, I said I wouldn't play it again because it's sexist. I mean, look at the pieces. They're designed specially, really exciting ones for the boys, like a battleship and a racing car. And what did the girls get? A thimble and an iron. Just serves to perpetuate the gender stereotype that women do all the household tasks.
And Monopoly sends out the wrong message. It's a right-wing game designed by capitalists where you can buy the utilities and the railway stations which should be under public ownership. And the more property you own, the higher rent you can charge. And when you go to jail, you can bribe your way out. And the bankers are crooked and dishonest, aren't they, Dad?
Well, I only borrowed the money. I was always going to pay it back. Oh, here comes Grandad. Look at him. He's walking like he's just spent the last 2 weeks on a horse.
Oh, how are you feeling, Grandad?
Well, it's a little bit sore, but the worst thing is he didn't offer when I...
I don't think we need to know that, Grandad.
Is that why you're having to sit on that rubber ring?
Yes, it's too painful otherwise, but luckily Stan lent me one of his aisle cushions.
Have they given you some ointment for it?
Yes, but I can't really see to apply it. I was hoping that Stan might help me.
Me? You've got to be joking. You've asked me to do some weird things in the past, but that's really plumbing the depths.
Well, that's one way of putting it.
I've just been watching a rerun of the funeral of Captain Tom. What an inspirational man he was. A proud veteran and a true gentleman. Did you know they rang a bell in the local church 100 times as a tribute? And he raised an incredible £33 million for the NHS.
Yes, that was one knighthood that was thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, not like some of them, which are for far more trivial things.
And talking of trivial, that's the board game we could all play, Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, but we hate Trivial Pursuit.
Ah, but this is different. This is the new Trivial Pursuit St Mary's edition. I borrowed it off Mrs Busybody.
The St Mary's edition?
Yes, all the questions are about things connected to St Mary's, so there's a good chance you'll know most of the answers.
Oh, well, that sounds right up my alley.
Yes, it's not the only thing that's been right up your alley recently.
OK, let's get started. Tim can go first.
Right, iPhone a 6. I'll go for my favourite subject, history.
Right, history question. When was the Methodist Church built?
Well, how am I supposed to know that?
It's written on the front of the building, you moron.
Well, I've never noticed it. Oh, it's such a hard question. I mean, it could be anything.
You want to have a guess?
1964.
That's the wrong answer. It's 1876.
Oh, that is so unfair.
Right, Jane, you're next.
Oh, 8. Oh, that's science and nature.
Science and nature. What is the name of Phil Tibbs' dog?
Oh, Sweep.
Correct.
Oh, God, I don't believe it. I mean, that is so easy. He just appeared on Britain's Got Talent. I mean, why does Jane always get the easy questions? I knew the answer to that.
Well, it's a shame you didn't pick it then.
Tim, get over it.
Right. Grandad?
7. I'll go for sport.
Right. In bowls, how many bowls are used in a traditional game of singles?
4.
Correct.
Oh, you've got to be joking. I mean, that was really easy as well. Can't believe Grandad got a bowls question. My question was much harder than that.
Oh, Tim, shut up and stop being such a bad loser.
My go next. 10. So I'll pick art and literature.
Art and literature? You've never read a book in your life. Well, at least I'm not going to be the only person who gets a question wrong.
What hugely underrated author whose books include All That You Touch, Gender and the SPC lives in the village?
Oh. Symon Vegro.
Correct.
Well, how did you know that?
Because I'm also a big Pink Floyd fan and I've read his book, although I wasn't convinced about the lying naked in the dark with cheese bit.
Right, that's it. I'm not playing anymore. You're obviously cheating. You've all ganged up on me deliberately and asked me the most difficult question.
Oh, Tim, don't be so ridiculous. The questions are completely random. And I actually knew when the Methodist Church was built, as we did it for a history project.
Oh, well, aren't you the clever one?
Oh, what was that?
I don't know. It came from outside.
I'd better go and take a look.
Oh, what is it, Mum?
You're not going to believe this, but a meteorite has just landed in our back garden.
And on that bombshell, we must leave it for this week. Has a meteorite just landed in the back garden, or is it the engine from a Boeing 777? Will Tim need help for his board game anger management issues, or is that completely the wrong move? And will Brenda discover Stan lying naked in the dark next to a stinking bishop? All will be revealed in next week's exciting episode of The Snatchups.
Wonderful, wonderful. I must admit, where do I begin? Having been sort of mentioned on the, which were obviously completely news to me on the Snatchups, I feel I've now made it now in life. So that's wonderful. And I'll never look at Monopoly again as a sort of a capitalist construct or something. So very interesting. Thank you very much. Oh, another wonderful show. So that's it for today. I'm really pleased you all joined in. Thank you for dialing in, everybody. Thank you for the contributors. Have a great week. If you want to feed back to us, let us know anything you want to come on and send in Redbourn recommends or anything, please get in touch with us. You can get us at info@activeinredbourn.co.uk. So I'll sign off again by saying thank you, everybody. Be safe, keep safe, have a wonderful time, and we'll look forward to seeing you all next Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock. Goodbye and have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.